So, I'd like to welcome you to this week's Prayerful Meditation. My name's Wendy Passmore, and we will be moving through various meditations over the course of the next half hour, just to hopefully get in touch with our inner experience, being radically honest with where we are, offering some prayers and meditations as we go along. So, to start this, why don't we just quieten ourselves in the divine loving presence, closing our eyes and just taking some deep breaths, breathing in deeply and breathing out, breathing in deeply and breathing out. Breathing in deeply and breathing out. And let us try to just put aside all the concerns that we have perhaps brought into this moment, and just to really try to center ourselves in God's love, God's presence, in that deep inner place, that inner sanctuary that resides in each one of us, that place where we can go to find peace and solace, perhaps some wisdom and insight, but just to relax into that deep inner sanctuary. Knowing that it is God who is calling us into this quiet place in the midst of all that's going on in our life. And as we're in this quiet place, I would invite us to invite the Spirit to gently guide us through the memories of the experiences of the past week and land on a moment that was especially life-giving, that we were really enlivened by the encounter or something in nature or a revelation that maybe came to us in the night. So let's just go into that moment or two, that experience, allowing it to nurture us again, those feelings. And hopefully, as we might have a journal with us, that we can do some writing about this experience. And what might I be learning, or what might God be trying to tell me through this, or what is the God message that I'm sensing that God is giving me through this experience or these experiences? And now let us invite the Spirit to um, graciously move us through the memories of our past week, and let's settle into an experience that was perhaps difficult or challenging in some way. And what was that all about? What was my experience? What was my feelings? What were my feelings? Um, so just explore that experience that was difficult and challenging, inviting the Spirit in. And as we explore this difficult experience, what might God's message be to me in the midst of this experience? And I wonder if before we move into our prayerful reflection on the psalm of this week, we might do a self check in. Where am I at? How am I feeling? How am I doing in the midst of this pandemic? What am I learning about myself and about God? So, just for all of us, just to do a bit of a check in as to where I'm honestly at. So let's do some prayerful meditation on Psalm. It's excerpts this week from Psalm 85, written by Nan Merrill. She did a book of Psalms. It's called Praying with the Psalms, and it's in inclusive language and more modern in terms of our relationship with God. How gracious you are to your people. You restore our souls time and time again. And as I read through this, sorry, I meant to mention, just stay with a word or a phrase the first time reading it that seems to speak to you at this moment in time. So I'll start again. How gracious you are to your people. You restore our souls time and time again. You forgive us our distractions when we wander far from you. You give us new life. You awaken our hearts to love. Restore us again. Cast out the fear, doubt, and delusion. Help us listen in the silent chapel of our hearts so we can hear you speak peace to us. New life is at hand for those who turn their hearts to you. Oh, that harmony might dwell among the nations. Mercy and compassion are your ways. You will guide our footsteps upon the path of peace as we recognize with open hearts that you are our peace. The word or phrase that seemed to speak to you and to me. And so as I read it through a second time, we're invited to prayerfully reflect on why that word or that phrase spoke to us at this time. And we can do some writing about that. How gracious you are to your people. You restore our souls time and time again. You forgive us our distractions when we wander far from you. You give us new life. You awaken our hearts to love. Restore us again. Cast out the fear, doubt, and delusion. Help us listen in the silent chapel of our hearts so we can hear you speak peace to us. New life is at hand for those who turn their hearts to you. Oh, that harmony might dwell among the nations. Mercy and compassion are your ways. You will guide our footsteps upon the path of peace as we recognize with open hearts that you are our peace. So, why did that word or phrase speak at this moment in time? So, as I read it through a third time, we're invited to offer a prayer in response to what we've received from this psalm. How gracious you are to your people. You restore our souls time and time again. You forgive us our distractions when we wander far from you. You give us new life. You awaken our hearts to love. Restore us again. Cast out the fear, doubt, and delusion. Help us listen in the silent chapel of our hearts so we can hear you speak peace to us. New life is at hand for those who turn their hearts to you. Oh, that harmony might dwell among the nations. Mercy and compassion are your ways. You will guide our footsteps upon the path of peace as we recognize with open hearts that you are our peace. So we can just prayerfully reflect or write a response to the message that we've heard from this psalm. And as we move from this meditation on the psalm, I wonder if we can prayerfully consider the people that we're carrying in our heart and just to offer some prayers or write some prayers for them. I'd also like us to um, ponder where we may have received an answer to prayer in some way. And what was that answer? So, the people we're carrying in our heart, praying for them, and also offering thanks for answered prayers. Maybe we haven't yet acknowledged, but as we reflect prayerfully, that God has moved in some way in answering prayer. And the theme for this coming Sunday of Advent is peace. So I wonder, as we reflect on that word peace, what does that mean for me? And where might I pray for the grace to be an instrument of peace in my world or in my family or in my prayer for peace in the world? So just spend some time with that notion of peace and what it means for you personally, and what grace do you ask or seek. Maybe there's a relationship that you would like to be an instrument of God's peace in, whatever it is. What is God saying to you and to me about peace? What does God mean by peace? And how can we be instruments of God's peace? Perhaps it is the Franciscan song's words to us, and it can be our prayer: make me a channel or an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there's despair in life, let me bring hope. So, in closing, let us just open our hearts anew to God's gracious love for each one of us. Know that you are loved, that you are forgiven, that you are called into new life. And let us just repeat quietly in our hearts these words that Jesus is saying to each one of us. You are loved, you matter, and you are known. You are loved, you matter, and you are known. And let's personalize it. I am loved, I matter, and I am known. May each one of us move into the reality of the truth of those words. God bless you. So till next time.